Hey guys, Rancher here, bringing you StarCraft commentary. This is gonna be the first set in the round of 16 between FanTaSy and Calm. They're gonna be facing off on match point to start things off. We're gonna have Calm the upper right position as the teal Zerg. We're gonna have FanTaSy the bottom left hand position as the yellow Terrans. So after the insanity that was the last matchup, I'm actually bringing you guys a real commentary. Excuse me. Cast that last game, took like a half-hour break to watch some Let's Play videos, and I'm now back here to bring you guys some awesomeness. 34, 35, 36. Anyway, this is going to be Calm against FanTaSy. I'm really expecting some, I'm expecting this to be one of the better series in this round of 16. These guys have had a bit of a rivalry. I think they're 3 versus 3 lifetime against each other, and recently went 1-1 against each other. So they've kind of throughout have always had some overall. Usually have had some pretty decent games. Well, it's either a good back and forth game or one guy totally dominating the other up to the point that it's kind of embarrassing. But really interesting to see this. Calm overall a very good player, of course. So is FanTaSy. Calm's best matchup is against Protoss, while FanTaSy's is against Protoss. I'm pretty sure actually. So these are not their best matchups. In fact, this is FanTaSy's worst, I believe. But he doesn't really. He had that one period in time where he was killing a lot of Zergs because of his very funky, interesting builds. But not doing that much anymore lately. It was actually last time the guy to go for some very funky, interesting Terran build against the Zerg was actually Flash. So we're going to see where FanTaSy plays good old standard or tries to go for something interesting. Sending out a ACV scout right now on the opposite side. I think I saw Comfort go for an overpull. Oh god, I just wanted to get one more game out of there. Feeling, I gotta give you guys some more stuff. Been neglecting y'all. Sorry. So I'm trying to make up for my negligence a little bit here. Try to bring you guys some more games tomorrow, but overall they're gonna be a little bit busy. Got some, real life stuff, exams, finals, doctor's appointments, girlfriends, new video games, stuff like that. Or rather, new old video games. But anyway, finally getting the scout in there, spotting what's going on. Pretty much expecting good old standard to happen here. And yeah, FanTaSy gonna go for 1 Rex into command center. She's gonna try to play a medic marine build. And honestly, I really hope for FanTaSy's sake that his M&M has improved, because about a year ago, his M&M was not good enough. Really, he always tries to mix up where the game did not always come down to his M&M control, just to his M&M micro. But he has significantly improved since then, I believe. Since then, I believe, not quite at the level of, say, Flash, but still much better than he used to be. Calm, still a very good player, very technical player, but he knows that if he gets his mutas out there and catches FanTaSy, he's going to be in good position. FanTaSy, of course, got into that trouble on this map. Did not go for Engineer Bay for some reason until extremely late. Did not have any turrets, or really didn't have at all enough to defend inside of his base. He was going for pretty standard play, but just apparently expecting lurkers rather than anything else. Still keeping the CV scout alive. Spotting the lair is not going to be able to keep it alive long enough to spot the lair coming up, but going to be able to at the very least keep it alive long enough to stop it and possibly let it die, interestingly enough. But he is putting up a bunker at the front. Pretty good standard play for him. He's playing a little bit safely, putting that bunker at the front. Going to have some marines to put inside there. Getting his refinery. He's going to have his academy and tech going very soon. I'm wondering whether he's going to put down his eBay before his academy, just to get those turrets up sooner and to try to get the weapons zone upgraded. If you manage to get your range, sometimes gets late, so you kind of decide you want the weapons one sooner or you want the range sooner. You just go and just standard play academy. But sometimes players decide to go to Engineer Bay because they want to get the weapons one sooner. And getting those weapons one pretty soon allows you to really rip into those mutalisks. Your range gets delayed though when you do that, so you kind of have to take the good with the bad. Hope that you can kind of save yourself due to the lack of range with stim and weapons one and turrets particularly. But actually we saw Calm going for a Hydra stand, so FanTaSy's going to have to wait for his scan to come up before he scouts this. Hopefully he gets some quick scan going as soon as he gets the academy up. But yeah, Calm gonna go for lurkers, so Flash could get in trouble if he gets caught off guard right now. Also actually going to pick up a third quick hatchery. So interestingly enough here, Calm actually going on a retching very aggressive. Wondering, sending out a drone. Is he actually going to send it onto the low right hand and expand yet again? That'd be absolutely insane. Take a sip, take a sip. So yeah, we do see the Calm station coming up. So so FanTaSy will know pretty soon what this is. The Calm's going for. Calm expanding, double expanding. Wow. Talk about audacity right here. He's not at all nervous. Like, I'm ready for you. He of course also knows that FanTaSy's not gonna have a large enough army. They have some Drogies on the ground, gonna get some more. Probably gonna be able to get some more. Because FanTaSy's gonna plop down a second bunker, and I think is that a turret in between them? I think that might be a turret. He's readying himself right now to react for the lurker bust, but he doesn't know about this double expo, so he doesn't know that a lurker bust is not coming. Spire also inside the main, interestingly enough, here for Calm. So wondering whether this is actually a complete fake out for him, because if it is, it's absolutely beautiful play here for Calm. I think this is just an absolute fake out for him. I think this is a hydrogen fake out, so he can pretty much pick up those 2 extra bases without FanTaSy knowing about it. So this could come out extremely well for him, extremely badly, but this is obviously very well thought out move by Calm. He knows exactly what he's trying to do. Has some Zerglings out there. He has to be very careful. There are a couple of fire bats in there, so he might not want to go in and engage, because fire bats, of course, will engage rip his Zerglings to pieces. And he wants every single one of his Zerglings out in the field, just in case this backfires on him. But yeah, he's saturating like crazy right now. Factory on the way now for FanTaSy, and he's not really producing that large an army. He's just playing a little bit defensive, trying to get his forces up there. There we go. I was like, oh, Academy. What's the Academy not blinking? But yeah, range on the way. Evo Jeez, an Evo Chamber as well. So I'm not altogether too sure. So he still might be going for lurkers. Wonder whether he's gonna do like full-on lurker wing. Lurker wing Yuta. I think this might actually be a quick Guardian build. I'm not altogether sure, but I think Calm might be going for a lurker, sort of a lurker Guardian combo. Not to get it overall too sure. Still only on the wear, so he's still on. Not getting his hive. He's gonna be able to get his hive very quickly, adding in more production hatches. But he's gonna be able to get a hive very quickly as soon as he establishes that third gas, and denying the scout with a SCV. Beautiful play for him overall. FanTaSy's gonna be able to push out a little bit, maybe go out there and force a few Sunguns to come down. But he really needs to get the scan and authentication. Run towards the lower right-hand position. It's very vulnerable. Has nothing to defend it so far. If FanTaSy would run towards the lower right-hand position, he'd be able to rip that to pieces. Just a couple of Hydras waiting for him outside the mineral only. They're not going to be able to engage. They're waiting for waiting until they become lurkers before anything else. So some drones actually going to go to the lower position. I'm wondering whether FanTaSy has scanned this or not, because actually moving towards the doors, there are going to be drone coming to the location as well. Hydra's going to be the only thing close by, even relatively close by to defend this. FanTaSy meal going to go down there. Going to be one creep colony coming down. Might not turn into a second. We're going to see FanTaSy not quite in the position to go in there. He's going to be able to go up this ramp. We're going to see if he'll actually go for this or not. Calm's going to be hard pressed. Sunken colony still not morphing in. Still don't know if he spotted this. FanTaSy now finally going to go for Queen Fist already on the way for Calm, so he's going to rush the hive right now, but still pretty bad position for him. Yeah, instantly, the minute he saw those fours, you got gulped. You saw that. They're trying to morph into Sunken. It might morph in and maybe get one shot off before it gets killed, but altogether not too sure. Lurker's going to be coming in, though. At the very least, I think Calm saved every single one of his drones, but he really did not want to lose that base. Thankfully, this really equalizes the position a lot. Calm didn't really manage to get too much mining done in this lower end, but did not manage to utilize his third gas too well. He's going to have some lurkers and Zerglings out there, so if he manages to completely decimate this army, this little force of FanTaSy, is going to be able to, counter this pretty well. Still has those 3 bases up, still has that, still has the mineral only as well. If he wants to pick up a second gas, he might want to do it at 12 o'clock instead of the low right-hand position. Might be just a little bit safer for him with workers out there as well. It might just be overall a better position for him to take. Civs now, meanwhile, milling around for FanTaSy. Still not picking up the mineral only. He's just going to be safe on 2 bases for now, adding in barracks. And going to get his science vessels out there before he does anything else. Still does not have a very large army overall. Weapons won't upgrade. He's going to meet those lurkers. Catch him in transition. Oh, and not a single lurker dies, interestingly enough. Caught completely in transition. Not enough focus firing. Just not enough forces in that one single grouping with long enough range. Meanwhile, Calm obviously taking my advice because I am a very smart individual. Intellectual that I am. 12 o'clock position. He's going to pick up the third gas at 12 o'clock position. If he manages to take that, he's going to be able to get his hive up very comfortably. Still not overall too sure what he was going for. He has some Scourge out there. And I don't know, I think I don't know if that was for Scourge, because I think that Spire was very fast for Scourge. Yeah, this was just his readying himself for some teching. Oh, funky stuff going up for him. Oh, Workers caught it, catching some of those Medic Marines. Ah, dear loved. But yeah, I'm still not quite overall too. She has some Scourge out, but I'm not altogether too sure why he got that Spire so quickly. Might have delayed it a little bit, get some more forces out, get some forces out there before she went for that Spire. Now Scan's coming off, spotting some Workers for FanTaSy, but doesn't have any tanks out there, and not a very large grouping, so he cannot be engaging those Workers as he is right now. Gonna have to wait for this initial science vessel and some tanks to support alongside before he decides to do it. He does have some forces back at home. They're just going to meet these ragtag group. I think he picked up another medic. Calm, meanwhile, has some Scourge in the air. Bunch of Zerglings, bunch of Workers. Hive on the way. Defaller mounts, so it'll be very quick Defaller mount. Scourge out there, I suppose. Just going to be out there to try to pick off the science vessels and not get a large enough number. Just going to be out there to try to pick off the science vessels and not get a large enough number, so those Workers and Defilers become much more useful. The Nidus Canal's already out there. Workers going to come inside the natural expansion of FanTaSy. He only has 2 bases. Has to be very careful how he managed to keep this alive. Has 1 tank out there. He needs to get siege on that tank. Back it off. Calm actually going to go for this. FanTaSy critically has some forces at the back. Has 1 science vessel. Is he going to have enough to run this back? Because we see a lot of Workers just all over the place. Even more Workers actually going to run it as well. Calm still losing some of the Workers, but still has even more Workers coming in at the time to support. Has only 6 Workers in there. Losing a lot of them right now. Those bunkers still... Okay, the last bunker down at the front. Radiate's coming off. Only 2 Workers, I think. Okay, more Workers in the background there. FanTaSy still moving in, trying to pick these Lurkers off, trying to mark against this. Still not overall in a very good position. Not as many, nearly not as many Lurkers out there for common. Only 3 at this point. They're just actually focusing on the, I think it was focusing on the tank for anything else, and tank actually saving FanTaSy. They're going to wait until he gets a few more minutes. He's actually going to be able to clear up this position with nothing but a tank. But critically for Calm, he has that 4th base up. He has it mining, and he's going to get those Defilers out there. Overall, he's in a pretty good position economically. So he lost that entire force, but he's going to be able to replenish it fairly quickly. Going to be able to get a lot of Zerglings out there to continue putting on pressure. 2nd starport, 5th and 6th barracks on the way for FanTaSy, and he's going to want to pick up his 3rd. He's going to want that mineral only at that 9 o'clock position, because the longer the game goes right now, FanTaSy does not have map control. Calm does have maneuverability across the map. Map control is all in a pretty good position. Going to be able to pick up the lower right-hand position without it being very horribly harassed at all. But it was a overall to 1 single medic, but that's about it. Still, Calm, just by having those Workers in there, a little bit delaying that base every time. He's a bunch of Zerkers going to come in here to help support. They're going to be able to run in. Dark Swarm going to come right on top of this. Scourge going to go down, so the Science was still alive. The Radiant going to come in on the Lurker. He's going to be able to get 1 more Dark Swarm off. Marine's going to be forced to retreat to the side. Zerk is coming in right now, doing some damage to Lurkers as well to support. So nice Dark Swarms over for Calm. Also going to move in a couple Lurkers and Zerk is on the downward ramps. Oh man, Defiler I think almost went down to the tanks. Medic Marines are going to get picked up by the Cracklings though. Beautiful Dark Swarms for Calm. Has Dark Swarms all over the place. Dark Swarm now very close to the bases. Tanks are going to be forced to retreat and try to siege up. Marines going to try to fire on these Zerglings up close. Has a couple of fire bats in them, critically picking off some of the Zerglings that were trying to get in close. Another Defiler, more Hardjusk on the way. Irradiates. Oh, going to irradiate the Defiler, but Defiler's still going to manage to do everything he needs to do before it dies. Actually, no. Yeah, he's good. Okay, gets 1 Dark Swarm off. But still, FanTaSy going to be fighting back out of this base, and he's overall not in a very good position. 1 Plague went off. Don't think it hit that much. Actually, yeah, it hit the Fire Bat, so Fire Bat's not going to be able to hold the position very long from trying to pick up as many Zerglings as he can. FanTaSy trying to get even more Fire Bat scores now coming up. No, Marines! Oh, God, 1 Science Vessel, 1 Science. Okay, I thought he was going to set the second. Only 1 Science Vessel go, but no Marines. Because the FanTaSy going for full-on Fire Bats at this moment. It's only turrets there to defend the Science Vessel. 1 Science Vessel still alive critically. Ah, going to get picked off just as I say that. Oh, no Science Vessel out there for FanTaSy. He has to wait for more because this could be actually a perfect opportunity just now. No Science Vessel, perfect opportunity right now. If Calm has any Lurkers out there, go out there for... Because sure, there are still scans, but overall, you want some Science Vessels out there to also help against everything. More production hatcheries coming down for Calm. In a very good economic position. He has the all right-hand base as well, so he's mining off 5 bases. FanTaSy only had 2. FanTaSy, okay, still not mining at the low right-hand, but just getting that up now. Also going to pick up the upper left-hand position. Dear lordy, you do not want to be in a position that FanTaSy's in right now against the expanding Zerg. He's, might have a slight upgrade advantage, but overall not in a very good position. Pretty bad, pretty far behind. Still has his tanks in there, still has a medic keeping adding in barracks because he can't really do much else. Might want to build up a command center to ready to float if nothing else. He wants to plant that down, of course. Just pick up that mineral only position to plant it down just as soon as he can, so he can start mining instantly. Moving down towards the 6 o'clock, actually, interestingly enough. I'm trying to pick up some movies. But FanTaSy's still in a very poor position. Not going to be able to reproduce the amount of forces, while Calm's just going to be able to put on constant pressure, envelop FanTaSy, and just put on a stranglehold. Put him in a total stranglehold. Has Nidus Canals, not at the bottom right yet, to prevent these attacks from coming in, but he's probably going to have reinforcements. If you lose the lower end of base, this is actually going to be a perfect time for him to counterattack. He's actually going to have Defile Workers and Zerglings coming in, so that's going to force FanTaSy back. He's going to stim up and run home. Like, no way. Not coming close to that one with a 10-foot pole. No, sir. I mean, sure, I expect to die, but I'm not going to run towards death. Going to try to run from death and shoot at it. There's a nice quote, as long as it's refined, you know. I don't run. I'm not stupid to run. I'm not stupid enough to run towards death or run away from death. I just happen to occasionally turn around and shoot at it. Nice. So let's see, gonna be engaged. We're coming in Dark Smoke. Gonna come in here for Calm. Lurker's gonna try to come in. Pretty decent prevention here for FanTaSy, though. Gonna run back. Still Lurkers on the left side as well. Going to try to pick those off with tanks and some forces coming in the back. Just has to be very careful to keep his army alive because he doesn't have much of it. And he's going to want to seriously start picking up that mineral only. I'm not quite sure if he's going to command center there or not yet. Going to force his Lurkers back though. Oh man, FanTaSy almost. Yeah, it does manage to catch him in transition only. The Lurkers only managed to get one shot off, but yeah, FanTaSy's going to be able to pick off the mineral only fairly safe now. Yeah, way ahead of me. Has the command center long since ready. And since of course Calm has nothing to attack air units except for Scourge, which is not going to waste a command center, as FanTaSy can just safely float the one around. He's very careful fighting on this high ground. Still has some sciences out there to spot the Lurkers for him, but Dark Swarms all over the place. Plagues coming off on his forces. He's building up yet another command center to try to pick up that upper left-hand position, but he has to go out there and actually do something about that. Instead of milling around in danger, he is not going to be able to pick off that 12th, but the upper left position may be something he's going to manage to get. Zerglings at this point, weapons 1 and Carapace 2 upgraded. Nidus Canal going to come with the upper left hand. With that Nidus Canal, FanTaSy unfortunately, if he wants to get there, he has to get there before the Nidus Canal comes up. Nidus Canal also up. Going to start attacking the Nidus Canal right now. Some Zerglings going to manage to mill out. Fire Bats not going to die instantly. Oh, if FanTaSy have gone up there 10 seconds early, he might have picked up Nidus Canal before anything else. He's going to be able to pick up his forces. Second colony, 1 second colony in right now, but he has to pick up the second colony. He's going to go for this Nidus Canal. If he manages to pick up the Nidus Canal and pick up the second creep colony, he might actually manage to pick up that upper left-hand base and float up his command center towards it. Gonna try to have some Firebat and Medic Marine blockade his natural expansion at this point. But Calm pretty much has a wow, okay, unnecessary deaths there for FanTaSy. But yeah, Calm has pretty much any position he can run in, and anytime he wants. Ultras Cavern on the way, he can afford this very easily. Just has to get his upgrades up, and he's gonna be in a pretty good position. Oh, FanTaSy losing his tanks. Oh, do not want. Calm now going to move in aggressively. Huge amount of Lurkers and Zerglings on the ground to support right towards the mineral only, or is he going to run all the way to the natural expo? Yeah, he's just going to bypass the mineral only. Actually, I don't know why he does that. He could have actually just gone for the mineral only and destroyed the only large available economy of FanTaSy's, because instead he actually got a lot of his Lurkers killed as he went for that. Could have gone for the mineral only and actually done a lot of damage there. Picked off SCVs, forced to float. You know, because FanTaSy does not have much economy. His main's drying out, if it's not already dry. Natural expansion has some mining going, but still FanTaSy has been mining off 2 bases for a very long time. Still mining off 3 right now, thankfully, for him. But still not nearly in a good position that Calm is in. Calm's been mining off 5 bases for quite a while now. FanTaSy actually has some forces at the upper left position, so I think he might actually be picking that off, but it's going to have Ultras on him. They do have armor force. They do have the armor upgrade. Probably have the speed upgrade on the way as well. Weapons 1 upgrade, so not going to be able to do much damage. We're going to be able to soak up a huge amount. Zergling's going to come in, pick off these tanks. So FanTaSy losing all of his higher tech, most of his higher tech units. Still has some sciences on. Going to float his command center back into his mineral only. Actually had that floated up. So Calm overall doing some decent damage. And Calm knows he's all according to plan. Yes, you know, it's overall in a very strong position now. Has Ultras, Lurkers, and Zerglings out there with Defiler support. And he knows that FanTaSy does not have the army to fight this back. He has a whole bunch of science vessels though, so he might irradiate that. And meanwhile now, going to start mining at the upper left-hand position. Going to have to hold this. Very important that he holds this right here. Gets his mining going. gets a bunch of army going as quick as possible. Thankfully for him, he's caught those Ultralisks in transition. So he manages to irradiate a bunch of them on the way, but not nearly enough though. He irradiates a few, but not all of them. Still a lot of Ultras that are not irradiated. Thankfully for FanTaSy, that ramp is a bit of a funnel. He can just plant fire bats there and maybe defense matrix a couple and just funnel there. Same kind of here. But because they're not sitting on the ramp, it's not quite the same type of thing. Might want a few more firebots out there before it's a complete funnel. Calm, you're not going to be able to hold every single one of his bases. So for now, for FanTaSy, it's about getting his own economy up rather than trying to prevent Calm's economy. He has that upper left-hand mining, has mineral only mining again, but Calm altogether, 5 armor on those Ultras, weapons too. A lot of Zergling as well, and Calm just still waiting, funneling even more Zerglings into that natural expansion, picking off tanks, basically picking off anything that would be a threat to his eventual final push that he's going to go for. Still picking off a lot of those units, and nothing for FanTaSy to really do. Last tank there blockaded by SCVs, but that's probably going to go down as well, so he's trying to fight valiantly. FanTaSy finally moving out, I think, with his 2 science vessels to go for a double erasure trick. A bunch of science vessels are going to start irradiating those Ultras, but I don't think it's going to do much because those Ultras are way too large a number. They don't even need Zergling support, this huge unit of Ultras. I mean, they do not take the damage you want to be able to deal on them. They're going to go in there. Even the irradiate is helping Calm more than FanTaSy. Just need some Dark Swarm. Plague support, there you go. Plague support, so Ultras can one-hit everything on the ground. And now they're into the natural expansion. He has some mining going on at the main at the upper left hand, but this mining just has not come through with the troop count. He's not had enough time to get the troops out there. Has some Marines out there trying to stem up, trying to engage these Ultras, but these Ultras just way too much health, way too much, and FanTaSy GG's. Calm playing an absolutely beautiful game. An absolutely beautiful, smart game of StarCraft here, so he beats this hand down. So that's going to be it for me today, guys. GG, Wrench, and that's listening. Hope you enjoyed. Hey guys, this is Ranch here, bringing StarCraft commentary. This is going to be the second set between Calm and FanTaSy in the Hana Daetoo MSL 2010 spring season. It's going to be an odd eye 2. We're going to have Calm at the bottom right hand position as the white Zerg player. We're going to have FanTaSy at the upper left hand position as the teal colored Terran player. So finally going to get going to finish up this round of 16 and get going on the round of 8. Really excited. Kind of funky to know already, you know, despite the huge bustling that was the madness of the round of 32, where I was late with everything. Finally getting there, and the tournament's already close to being over. It's mad. Let's see here, some sinkage: 38, 39, and 40. 4 matches left of the well, theoretically 4 matches left. That is, possibly 4 matches left of the round of 16, depending on who wins, who what. So we have potential 2 to 4 matches left. We're going to see what happens. FanTaSy sending out an early SCV. Apparently he's going to... Alright, so he's probably going to be bringing up some cheese. 8 racks outside his base. He could have sent it a little bit more to the side. Maybe I think the Overlord will be able to spot it, but it's going to take a while. And the Overlord will definitely spot the Marines down on the way. We're going to see what the FanTaSy starts up by. It's just sending it on an SCV scout. But yeah, he's planning a hatchery sniper right here. Overlord being built first. Still don't see any spawning pull-ups, so this might be a 12 hatch coming in for Calm, and if that's the case, then this actually falls straight into what FanTaSy wants. FanTaSy is 1-0 behind here after losing the first set, so he definitely wants to get back into it. Needs a second win right here to going to try to catch Calm off guard here. We're going to see how he manages to do. Overlord just slowly waiting for it. This is going to be a 12 hatch, so this right off the bat looks pretty bad for Calm. FanTaSy should be able to... this is only from 1 barracks, so it's going to be very important to put down the bunker. Without the bunker, this will not work, I think. And it's all really going to come down to... Okay, what we're really fine right here. Yeah, it's all going to come down to what Calm manages to do to counteract this, how he micros his drones. It's going to be very important to, for one thing, to try to prevent that bunker from coming off. There's another drone coming off the line. Oh, no! Oh, poor Calm, going for 3rd hatch before spawning pull. Oh, man, exactly what he would not want. SCV, meanwhile, just going to run inside. And actually, Calm's Overlord apparently running across the side. Are the Marines going to... Oh, no, the Marines get spotted. The Overlord trying to pass around it, but instead of just going to pick up the Overlord. We're going to see what Calm manages to spot to this. Probably going to be forced to cancel that hatchery. Still has it in there. Is also... Well, he might lose that Overlord. Only a few more shots on it. Is he going to survive? Oh, Overlord gonna go down already. Also, not a good position to be in. Calm blinks his eyes like, are you kidding me? SCV now at the front waiting to put down the bunker. A couple of Marines coming down. Another Overlord that might get sniped by these Marines. That would be absolutely insane. Second Overlord. This one might survive, though. Might actually run to the safety of FanTaSy. Not even going to bother with this. Has second SCV coming down now. A couple of drones at the natural expo. Spawning pool on the way. I think he actually did not, did not cancel the hatchery. I think he just had spawning pool on the way, but he's going to need those Zerglings. Luckily for him, the Zerglings are going to be coming in soon. But FanTaSy already ready to follow this up, getting a factory up, so he's going to get some Vultures in there to follow up this attack. He's going to do a massive amount of damage. Calm, I think, pulling most, if not all, of the drones off the line. And Bunker coming in behind the mineral line, canceling it inside, outside the hatchery. There's no way, absolutely no way the drones are going to be able to get to that bunker down there. Marines are just going to be able to blockade it, but the CVs desperately needs to get some Zerglings out there, and he desperately needs to get a sunken colony. He has even more Zerglings at Natural Expo, but he could theoretically try to get a sunken colony in there, but just not sure how effective it would be. He's going to have a control group of Zerglings. Gonna try to get a sunken colony in there. I think it's actually out of range of that bunker, but the hatchery will still go down. Zergling's actually on the way to go counterattack. FanTaSy ready for this. Has getting a starport right now, and he has a factory alongside of barracks to blockade. Second colony is going to come up. I'm not quite sure. It should be in range of the bunker, though. SCV's also attacking the hatchery. And a Vulture on the way. Zergling's actually going to try to counteract it. But Vulture already, nice counter here. As long as FanTaSy micros that well, it's going to be a good position. Second colony does range the bunker. But the hatchery most likely still going to go down because just not enough firepower from the second colony. And I'm altogether quite sure the hatchery most likely will go down, still taking a heavy amount of damage. Zergling's going to try to attack the barracks right here. Going to try to get through this. SCV's repairing the bunker, though. So, yeah, the hatchery will go down. Hatchery pops, and Calm looking overall in a very bad position. Just one Vulture here for FanTaSy, enough to save him, really. Those Zerglings falling prey to that. Starport on the way. I'm wondering what this is, didn't quite due to the stuff at the north there. It's on the upper side of the map. I did not actually see whether he was producing something from it, whether he was actually going for wraiths or not. Second colony does take down the bunker. Those Zerglings out there, so now there's a little force of FanTaSy. He's going to get cleared up by Calm altogether in a very bad position. Still mining on one base, never mind losing all those resources, and mining one base to one base against a turn point, not a position you want to be. Vultures out there, because the only thing Calm will have out there are Zerglings, and Vultures rip Zerglings to pieces. So really, I'm not sure what FanTaSy went for that starport. Try to go for some... If you check out though whether he's going to try to go for follow this up with a drop inside of the main, which he doesn't really need to do. There's a sunken colony, of course, so he might just try to circumvent that by dropping inside the main. But getting a command center out there, so he's actually going to expand. And that was a wraith that he was producing, so that's going to go do some hunting, pick off an overlord. There's absolutely nothing out there for Calm. We'll get some Hydras out there, but still overall not a good position to be in. Overall going to go down. Some drones also going to... Vulture's going to come right up the ramp. There's going to be GG in a minute. Now one single Hydra in there, not nearly enough, and no more really on the way. Just not enough. A couple more on the way maybe, but not really nearly good enough economy to keep this up. A couple of Vultures in there. One does get surrounded by drones and get picked off, but still that Wraith and one single Vulture will do a mass amount of damage. One Hydra in there to fight back at two Hydras, and there's going to be a couple more, but just not going to be enough. Even if Calm somehow manages to fight this back, almost picking off the Vulture, does fight this back right now, but he's in such a horrible position. FanTaSy's just going to follow this up, adding in an academy, and going to just produce a medic marine army and just push in with that. Lair going to be on the way, so I think Calm going to desperately try to get some lurkers down on the ground. He needs some Hydralisks out there alongside some lurkers. That's going to desperately try to fight this back. He needs also put down the natural expo. He needs some mining, because FanTaSy is going to be mining from two bases very soon. He's in an extremely strong position, extremely dominating position. Three barracks going to be on the way. Yeah, that we're going to see that command center come down. But FanTaSy pretty much, he's using that Wraith as a scout. Could have actually gone home to repair it, but he's using it as a scout, using it as a harassing tool. Knows at all times that Calm cannot do anything weird and crazy against him. Just knows that has this game in the bag. As long as he does not make an absolute insane glorious mistake, he knows he has this game in the bag. No real way for him to lose at this point, just because of how far ahead Calm is. Actually sending out a Hydra there, which is going to get killed by Marines. Hydras do not do very well against Marines. Even the Marines outnumber the Hydras even a little bit. They just rip them absolutely to pieces, especially when they have Stillman medic support. Then Hydras just fall instantly. Just even with upgrades, they just don't have enough. Don't have what it takes to fight Marines head to head. A couple of Wraiths out there actually now for FanTaSy, so he might try to go do some drone hunting at this point. Gonna want to avoid those Hydras because one of those Wraiths is heavily damaged, but still just gonna be able to harass and be annoying. Might even take out that sunken colony if he would really want to, just to open himself up a little bit. There is a tank out there for him, though, and he's still waiting on stim and range. Stim to start off, so he's going to be able to go out there with a tank, pick off that sunken colony when he's ready, and he's going to have more than enough medic marines to support against those hydralisks. Oh, Wraith going to catch an Overlord in the bottom left-hand corner. There's another Overlord dead. FanTaSy is meanwhile going to lose his full health Wraith, but the Wraith that was heavily damaged is meanwhile going to go and kill yet another Overlord here at the bottom left-hand position. Calm also just losing all this food, not happy, losing all the Psy, just not in good position to be in. But yeah, medic marines are already streaming down the map, quite a few medics alongside his marines, keeping some back home for defensive purposes, but that not really necessary, just basically just in case those Hydras start to go for a flanking attack as they're doing right here. Hatchet meanwhile put down the natural expo. That's going to go down in seconds. One is CV going to spot those Hydras. 4 Hydras with speed upgrade. I'm not quite sure whether they have range yet or not, but medic marines already now going to go to natural expo. A couple of siege tanks should have siege as well. Actually, yeah, that Wraith actually now attacking the sunken colony, but that doesn't mind. I don't even think he's going to bother carrying it. Yeah, never mind trying to siege up in the sunken colony. Never mind siege mode. Just tanks and medic marines, more than enough to pick all of this off. Sunken colony doesn't even, didn't even take down a single medic marine unit, medic marine unit, and that's a GG from Calm. Nice strategy and nice follow-up by FanTaSy. So he's going to even this out, and we're going to see how Calm decides to react to that. Went for a little bit risky economic builds, so unfortunately due to his greed, it didn't help him. Never mind the fact that he went for 12 hatch. He went for a hatchery following up. He followed up his 12 hatch with another hatchery before spawning pool. At least I'm pretty sure he did that. Didn't put his spawning pool down, so overall he played a little greedy, and FanTaSy caught him in that. So we're going to see what happens in the third set, guys. GG, guys. Wrenching out. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed. Hey guys, this is Ranchin here, bringing you a StarCraft commentary. This is going to be the third set between Calm and FanTaSy in the round of 16 of the almost said Nate Hana Daetoo MSL 2010 spring season. I don't know why I keep adding in the spring season, but technically it is the spring season MSL. So I almost could have been countdownage, but not quite. So as I already said, this is going to be between Calm and FanTaSy. This is going to be on Fighting Spirit. Get colors in position that way. At the bottom right, we're going to have Calm as the brown Zerg. There's a 5 o'clock position. The upper right, at the 1 o'clock position, we're going to have FanTaSy playing as the purple Terran player. So altogether, these guys have been playing an interesting series. FanTaSy really crushing Calm in the second set. We're going to see if Calm can manage to bounce back. He's technically a guy that plays pretty decently under pressure. He can bulk occasionally, but he's played on this stage before. He's been in the finals before, and especially he beat Jaedong in a semi-final situation in the Avalon. So definitely a player to look out for. Let's see, 43, 44, 45. Yeah, Calm does definitely have the qualities of an ace, which means that you play under pressure. You need to be able to win under pressure. Sure, he loses sometimes, but often enough, it's more just because he gets outplayed rather than he gets nervous. It does happen occasionally that he bulks under pressure. It happens to many players. There are a few notable exceptions, particularly the guys that are at the very, very, very top that generally don't really bulk under pressure, like Flash, Jaedong, Bisu, guys like that. That just Bisu. Even if he's losing recently, he's not playing at his best anymore. But it's not really due to pressure. I think might be a little bit now because he hasn't been playing up to his best, so it might be a little bit pressure now. But that's beside the point and off topic at the moment. We're gonna see whether these guys play a little bit different than the usual. We get always the generally Zergs tend to go 12 hatch. And you get it Muto Scout there as fast as you can. FanTaSy, meanwhile, he does not play the way that Terrans play these days. He's gonna go for mech here, very, very early refining alongside his barracks. So he's gonna try to get some. He's gonna try to get some mech, some vulture going out there. Just no sending his SCV scout to my scouts. I think he's sending it to the upper left-hand position, but I think actually as soon as almost if he had spotted the drone, he would have known that the base is actually at the lower right-hand position. So it's actually going to take him a while to scout Calm. While Calm sitting out with the drone scout, is going to be able to get inside of FanTaSy's base and scout him out. And FanTaSy will going to go to the upper left position. I think actually now that he knows that the drone came for his base, I think just with that he's going to know that if it's not at the upper left, it's going to be at the bottom right because they're sending the SCV around right now. Spawning pool on the way now for Calm. We'll be out there soon. something like that. Factory going to come up right now, so this is most likely going to be maybe something like he went for last time, try to get... Well, not exactly, because he started out with a bunker rush, but get an early Vortex out there, try to put on some pressure, try to harass, then maybe tech up to Wraith, try to do some harassment Wraith, and then switch back to Medic Marines. But he might go for Valkyries instead. We do see that production hatchery coming inside there for Calm. They're going to be 6 Zerglings full right now, but I still think FanTaSy is going to be in a decent position to defend. He has several Marines out there. He's going to float his barracks away to most likely act as a blockading building. Is going to expand off that one factory because we only see one ACV mining gas at the moment, but the barracks is going to go down to Natural Expo. Not quite sure how many Marines he actually produced. They're going to come off the line, actually. I think it was more to go mine at the Natural Expansion than actually to try to counter the ACV or try to do some damage. That's what the Zerglings are for. FanTaSy getting the caught right in the claws and the maws of the Zerglings. Very, very close. Now this is going to go down right there. Not quite managing to keep it alive very long, but does spot the gas coming up. And I mean, while putting down his own base at his own Natural Expo, only had 1 Marine in there. That's not a very good position for him to be right there. But if he managed to get a Vulture out there with 1 single Vulture, he'll be able to defend this. One Supply Depot to act as a blockading building, going to probably float up his barracks to make it a little bit of a better block. I think he's actually going to use his Commander Supply Depot and the barracks to act as a full wall to make it so the Zerglings have to pretty much bypass on the side. Not early Spire. We're going to be seeing Hydrogen before anything else. Also, Single Colony at the front for Calm, so at the very least, spotting the factory, knows there could be Vultures coming out, but 1 single Vulture will be enough for FanTaSy to defend his own Natural Expansion from those Zerglings. That's not the 1 Vulture across the bridge. Not really going to be able to do much with it because of that Sunken Colony, but at the very least, going to be able to hold that. Yeah, using that Commander alongside that Barracks as a play to defend himself. Armory on the way. So we're going to see whether there's going to be Goliaths. It does look like he's going to switch up into Goliaths. Getting some upgrades going. So he might be expecting Mutas, but he really needs to get a scout in there. He needs to get a Vulture inside because Mutas are not what are going to be coming at him. Calm apparently thinking of doing a switch up right here. Once going to hit on that Vulture, so Vulture's not going to find himself with a hard press to get through. There is going to be most likely Lurker pressure. Might be Hydra Den. Might just be a bunch of Hydras to react to the fact that it could be mech coming at him. But might also be Lurkers. I think he's just going to mix in together a little bit just in case. FanTaSy might of course switch up back into Medic Marines as soon as he has stuff going. Is that a second factory? No, it's an engineering bay. I thought it might have been a second factory. Engineering bay coming up right now. It's also being added in turrets. I think I saw an academy on the way as well. Not really good. Too sure. Think I saw an academy, so he's going to get some scanning going. Really needs to go in there scan. Still no layer up, so I think FanTaSy is just going to go for just going to start pumping Hydras at full and go out there. Meanwhile, the Vulture has planted some mines, so mines for the Vulture before anything else. Also going to actually plant mines the lower left-hand position to make sure that when Calm wants to expand and pick up a 3rd base, he's not going to be able to take the lower left-hand corner. At least he's going to find himself a little bit hard-pressed. Bunch of Hydras coming up the line. Oh, did the mine actually do it? I think Micro pretty well. Yeah, with that overword there, never mind. So Hydra's not going to manage to do much. Even more. Another mine! Oh, nice Micro there overall. No more mines. The FanTaSy, I hope, yeah, is planning down more mines in the way across his own bridge, trying to get some mines out. But our Overlord's in position, though. Calm with the perfect position here. I think he's actually going to be sending out, yeah, wow, doing a great job. Overlord's right in position for those mines. Another mine. Great Micro. Bunker trying to put out the front fight. FanTaSy does get the bunker up. All the SCVs coming off the line in that show. Only a couple of Marines in there. Doesn't manage to, he's going to manage to push his back right now. Doing a good job of surrounding it. Has Goliath out there. Don't think he was expecting. I think he was expecting Mutilis because he has Goliath down the field. And no, going to try to repair the bunker again. Bunker might go. The bunker going to go down. 3 Marines in there. Is it going to be Siege Tank on the ridge? Is that Siege Tank? Oh, Siege Tank going to get some decent fire on those Hydras before the Overlord comes down, but now the Hydras engaging SCVs, and SCVs not going to manage to do much against that at all. Waiting on the Siege Tech right now for that tank. Lure going to be on the way. Calm, an absolutely beautiful attack here. Siege is up, so he's going to literally manage to get some fire, but already lost a lot of SCVs. A lot of SCVs have been lost by these Hydras. SCVs and Goliath and the tank is just going to be forced to push this back. Second tank coming in, so as soon as that puts up siege, I think it's going to be all in all good enough. You're not even going to bother sieging up, so I think this is going to be enough to push these Hydras back. But the damage done is immense. Absolutely immense damage done here by Calm. Nice switch up, nice attack. Know exactly what to go for. FanTaSy not expecting that attack, expecting Mutalisks, expecting an attack on his base a little bit later than it actually came because he was expecting Mutas. Calm, you want going to expand its position rather than going to the lower left hand. Just going to pick up the safer 3rd instead of getting himself a position that will be easier to fortify as the game goes on. That's, of course, I've said that many times. The advantage of picking up the low ref in position, like you're going to be able to pick up the main and the natural there, and then just fortify the natural expansion. So you kind of got a frontal defense for 2 different bases, but it's going to take you a while to get those defenses going. So in that way, it's a little bit safer to pick up the 6 o'clock, even though it does have a ramp that your enemies can access. I'm just going to come in here and move around yet again. There are tanks on the ridge now, but FanTaSy definitely took a heavy amount of economic damage. He really needs to go out there and do some damage of his own at this point. Calm, still only been mining on 2 bases, but he's going to get that 3rd gas going. He's still going to be able to pump troops, taking up alongside. He knows he doesn't need a heavy amount of troops with the damage he did out there. Vulture's still going to go out to try to plant some mines. Planting a mine here at the 3 o'clock position, we instantly gets killed thanks to Overlords in position. So FanTaSy's gonna still find himself a little bit hard pressed to pick that up. Was that at the 9 o'clock? Yeah, I think, yeah, 3 o'clock position right there. So FanTaSy's still gonna find himself hard pressed to pick up 3rd base when he wants to, and he is gonna want to pick up the 3rd base a little bit sooner than he might have wanted with all the damage that was done. He's gonna want to get some. He's going to want to get a 3rd base. He's going to want to try, at least early on, to try to almost compete with Calm for bases, because with that immense amount of damage. Finally, scans coming off, checking up defense at the front, probably going to scan the main as well. Not sure if he spots the 6 o'clock. Not sure if he knows about that. I think he's actually adding in barracks right now, so he is going to switch up into more of a medic marine. Of course, if he gets a nice medic marine army out there, and Calm doesn't have any lurkers down the field or any mutas out in the air to help those Hydras fight him off, medic marines, a decent number with medic support and stim and range, are going to be able to engage. Especially if they get weapons 1 upgrades, they're going to be able to engage those Hydras pretty well. 4th barracks going to be on the way. Already some medics out there, so some upgrades. Those stim and range upgrades should be ready, if not almost ready. But there are going to be Mutos out there for Calm, so Calm doing a pretty nice job of switching up. Has quite a large number of Mutos right there already. It's just the right time. He's going to go to try to put in some pressure. There are some Goliaths in there, but not really much in the way of defenses. Hope for FanTaSy's sake he has some turrets. He is putting up turrets right now. Also bunker at the front that has some Goliaths. Not quite sure if they're Charon boosters. I assume they have Charon boosters at this point. Not only too sure. Not that many Goliaths though. A couple more would really help him out here. Mutos going to go for this here. Okay, there you go. Bunch of Goliaths in the main. No Charon boosters, unfortunately for FanTaSy, but still, bunch of Goliaths there inside the main. They can just maneuver there while the natural expansion, the bunker, and Marines inside the bunker alongside a couple of turrets are going to help defend. There's the Mutas over again, not going to be too successful. Hatcher actually managed, was that the 9 o'clock, or was that, yeah, I think it was the 9 o'clock position, where the Hatcher actually managed to put down despite the mine being in position. That's kind of hacks. Muta's going to come in there, catch the tanks in the open. 1, 2, is it going to be 2? No, not quite managed to get 2 tanks. Almost managed to get 2 tanks. Might actually go in for the kill here. Is going to go for the kill, pick off 2 tanks. Not that many. I don't think a single Mutas died there, but FanTaSy, unfortunately, losing 2 Charon boosters, I think, would have actually helped him fight this back much better, but the Goliath's not quite managing just to focus down those Mutas. So Calm playing absolutely beautiful game here. Not going to allow a tech switch, but not going to allow tech switch from FanTaSy. I'll switch back into, what the hell? How did that hatchery come down? I think it planted a little bit out of position to actually plant itself despite the mine. Muto's going to yet again go for this natural expert. Going to pick off a turret. Now going to start engaging the SCVs. Continue doing this economic damage, and if he keeps doing that, it's really a lot that he can accomplish with this. Goliaths finally do have some Charon boosters up, the Charon booster upgrades up there. Weapons 1 upgrade, the medic marines as well, and medics and support. So he's going to be able to fight back these moves a little bit. If Calm does not keep getting a huge number of them, going to go for the tank yet again. Is it going to be able? Yes, going to pick off us. Oh man, 3rd tank get picked off. Did lose, I think, a couple of Mutas in that engagement, but this just means that with lack of tanks, those Hydras are going to be much more effective if he still plans on using them. Huge. Well, look at that. 10 lurkers, I think, morphing a huge amount of lurkers, but he's going to have. Okay, that was a lower left-hand position, natural expansion, the lower left-hand. So Calm's planning on taking the entire southern side of the map, and he could actually manage to do that with the position he's in overall. In a very strong position overall, I gotta say, for himself. Muto's still actually, trying to get picked off by Goliaths. Might actually manage to do it on the other side. Muto's going to yet again go for this base of FanTaSy's. FanTaSy's still on 2. Well, Calm's already going to be mining off 4 bases, so FanTaSy pretty far behind at this point. Muto's going to go get an, oh man, they're going to find himself an open field at the production line. Now going to spot the starport, going to delay that starport, so Sciencel's going to be a little bit late, going to go in there, try to do some damage. Is actually going to back off. Did I almost say black off? Dear God, that would have been awful. And I actually did say it anyway. Orange, and you racist bastard. So let's see. Lurkers have weapons 1 upgrades at this point. Hive going to be on the way. Calm going to be able to afford this off 4 gas. Defilers and lurkers and lings and hydras. Might be some hydras there to help against those Goliaths. But yes, still Calm definitely in a strong position. FanTaSy's going to have to basically go out there, kill Calm's entire army, go to this lower left hand, pick off that base. He needs to pick off that base. Needs to prevent that entire lower left hand position from being picked up. Really needs to do some damage. Their science vessels are all going to be out there. He's going to need them. They're going to be really necessary. 4th and 5th barracks in the way as well. But he really needs a 3rd base of his own. Not quite sure whether he's going to try to go for the 12 or for the 3 o'clock position. 3 o'clock position a little bit closer, but definitely closer to Calm. So a little bit more risky position there. Although it can be well fortified against ground troops because of that one small ramp, you can kind of plant some tanks on there and abuse that, but still not very good defensible positions. A little bit further away from the Zerg at the 12 o'clock position for him, so he might decide to go for that position instead. We're going to see. Still a bunch of lurkers out there waiting around the middle, just waiting for something to kill Calm. Really quite a large amount of forces, and once he gets his Defilers out there, he will be able to do a hell of a lot of damage. Mutalisks meanwhile going to go, oh man, catch FanTaSy right on, oh god, catch him right on top of the SCV line. That's going to be a huge amount of damage. That's going to be a huge, look at all those SCV dying. I don't even want to know how many kills of music I have. Few Marines coming here to try to support. They're all going to go down. SCV just being ripped to pieces. FanTaSy in absolutely horrible position. Still trying to fight this back, but no medic support. Goliath is going to be forced to come back home here to force those Mutalisks back. The Mutalisks have done so much damage. FanTaSy is still on 2 bases. Now his main is hardly mining at all. So Calm just now has to play at a short waiting game. Just starve FanTaSy. God, I keep losing myself. Huge amount of Zerglings to support those Lorkers. He's going to go for a full-on attack. There are some tanks spread out, though. We're going to see the Lorkers finding good positions. Scan goes off. No signs to support Mutalisk in there again. All the Zerglings are going to run up in a huge amount. A wave of Zerglings. Lorkers and Zerglings coming in from the back as well. Even more Zerglings streaming up. They're going to get it all the way north. Calm just going to go for the final blow right here. Some Lorkers even more burning down. Some Hydras as well. Zerglings on the ground. So even more Zerglings coming in from the left side. Not quite sure if he has quite enough forces. Just has to unburden those Lurkers and get right across that bridge, but pushing FanTaSy back all the way, picking off all of his tanks, a huge amount of his forces. Just right now has Goliath to fight back. Lurker's going to burrow down, pick off that huge amount of Lurkers right across that bridge. So he's going to have a very nice contain on FanTaSy's natural expansion right now. Defiler going to be on the way. Defiler man ready, about now. So we're going to be seeing Calm pick up the lower left-hand base. He's going to be on 5 soon enough. Still mining fully on those 4 bases. Oh man, just so far ahead economically. Larger troop count, overall superior position, getting some Scourge out there. Huge amount of workers, even more workers being morphed. He can afford all this. And he's on 4 bases and he's not gunning for ultras. He's playing smart. He doesn't need ultras at this point. He could to go in, just finishes off, but he can do this with what he has on the ground. Just keep getting those lurkers. Just when the lurkers are in such a high amount, there's no way medic marines can kill those. Just the lurkers will rip them to pieces. Still some tanks out there for FanTaSy. Scourge gonna try to come in. Oh, managed to get one hit. Science desperately stays alive. Oh god, I'm commentating after work and my mind is just. Need a cup of tea or some booze or something. I don't know. Marines alongside Science is going to move downwards here. Oh god, are they going to engage these lurkers? I think, never mind the Science vessel. Yeah, instantly some medic marines dying there. Just FanTaSy in no way, shape, or form has anything to engage. Calm going to make sure he doesn't pick up the 3 o'clock. FanTaSy not going to be able to expand at the 12 either. He's not expanding even. Losing some of his Zerglings to mines at the right side. But at this point, FanTaSy has a little bit of a troop out there outside his base. I think Calm could just move in with the lurkers from 2 positions alongside Zerglings, just kill right now. Oh god, Consume is ready for those Defilers, so that's going to be it. He's going to go for the killing blow right now. A couple of Dark Swarms, lurkers coming in, that's going to be it. We're going to see 1 Dark Swarm. Is there going to be a second one? Is going to push all the way up. Lurkers coming in, not quite burrowing. They are going to burrow right now. Second Dark Swarm going to come on top of that. Tanks, is it going to be able to get a 3rd Dark Swarm close to those tanks? Lurkers going to barrel in from the left side. Medic Marines desperately trying to micro here. FanTaSy losing still a lot of forces, losing the last of his tanks. A few of the Medic Marines up there alive, but even more forces streaming upwards for Calm. I'm sorry. Scourge going to try to catch these sides. So one side goes down. Second one, oh, not quite goes down. Not quite goes down. Nice English. 2 sciences out there, but almost no troops for FanTaSy. Calm, meanwhile, now going to pick up that lower left-hand base. Should be mining for him already. Yeah, already just now starting mining. 5th gas. He might even go for ultras at this point, but I'm not quite sure if he really needs to. He 2-2 upgrades. So FanTaSy's ahead in upgrades, but not really helping him out at this point. He he's just getting those upgrades because he can't, do anything else. He does not have... He's playing on 2 bases against a 5-base Zerg. Do the math. Oh, dear lordy. Not that many upgrades out there for FanTaSy, actually. Only 1 carapace and 1 weapons, but still, he's going to manage to do this with this. It's fine. Sacrificing some of these lurkers up there at the front, not for really nothing. Just has to keep that position. Kind of breaking a contain a little bit, FanTaSy. Engaging those lurkers and just losing his medical marines. What are you doing, FanTaSy? Too many lurkers. Got to try to engage yet again. Might actually lose it again. Observers, actually. Yeah, not focusing off the lurkers. 4 lurkers. Okay, 3 lurkers. Gonna try to get close in these medic marines. They're actually... Oh, no. I thought... Oh, God. Slaughtering all those medic marines. FanTaSy. Oh, the position this guy is in is horrible. No. Outplayed. Absolutely outplayed by Calm. He's going to stream across the bridge. Dark Swarms. Never mind the irradiates. Lurkers being irradiated. You want to... Tanks in the Dark Swarm. They're just desperately going to try to run for their lives. And denied. Killed. Desperately going to try to siege up across the bridge. But at this point, Calm is on the bridge. Still going to have more reinforcements streaming in. Just wait for more Dark Swarms. Then he's going to be able to get all the way to the National Expo. FanTaSy still only on 2 bases. Even more forces streaming up right now. And just one final push here by Calm is going to end this. Get some more irradiates. Managed to get 1 irradiate before it dies. Still trying to irradiate some of those lurkers. But I think at this point, Calm's going to stream all the way. Is it going to have a... is it going to have... Yeah, I think... Was that second Dark Swarm came on top of the other Dark Swarm? So lurkers actually... Zerglings coming in very in close. But I think actually it's going to be the final push here for Calm. I don't see any Defars out there, so I'm not quite sure if there's going to be another Dark Swarm. But I think he just has enough lurkers at this point. Yeah, there you go. Dark Swarm. Lurkers and GG for FanTaSy. Knocked out. Oh, FanTaSy just no luck lately. Never mind OSL. Just MSL not his stage. But Calm definitely showing that he wants a repeat of his Avalon MSL run. He wants another title. So, and they might actually do that. What with STX finally STX is now have decent white uniforms, while it's now the Thompson Calm that has the wacky, weird, what the hell uniforms. But anyway. That's going to be the end of that. I'm going to take a short break before I'm bringing you guys the rest. I have one more matchup to do, but my mind seems to be a little bit like that. So when it's like that, the quality kind of goes plummets. So going to take a short break and then bring you guys the rest. GG guys, right now, that's listening. Hope you enjoyed.